Hi children, the topic for today's discussion is capacitors. Yes, the first thing we have to understand is what is a capacitor, what is the use of a capacitance, where do we find this capacitor in a practical circuit. These are the things that we are going to discuss first. Then what comprises a capacitor or such things. Let me tell you a first thing. A capacitor is a device. What is a capacitor? A capacitor is a device used for the storage of electrical energy. A capacitor is a device that stores electrical energy and delivers it at once. What does that mean? A capacitor is a device that stores electrical energy and delivers it at once. At once or immediately. That is what I mean with the at once. What does that mean? Then what about the difference of a capacitor with a battery? The battery also does the same thing. Battery stores electrical in a cell. Some form of energy is converted to electrical energy. That means a cell contains electrical energy. A capacitor also contains electrical energy. What does a cell do? A cell will take a long time to charge. You know about your mobile phone. You cannot charge a mobile phone in 1 second or 2 seconds time. It requires some time. Earlier we used to charge it or once you buy a mobile phone, the shopkeeper will say that okay, keep it charged for 12 hours. In the similar way, when you use the mobile phone, you will get the battery life for around say 12 to 24 hours also, right? The same thing you cannot get with a capacitor. Capacitor charges at once at the same, and it also it will take only negligible time to charge. In the similar way, it will take negligible time to discharge also in practical situation. Theoretically, we say infinite time, that we will be discussing in one of the later classes. As a higher level class, I will be discussing that topic. So capacitor charges very quickly, it discharges very quickly. I say 99%. 100% it is very difficult to get with a capacitor. All such questions will be answered later. So capacitor is a device. What is that capacitor basically? A capacitor is a device used to store electrical energy. Used to store electrical energy and delivers it very quickly. Now the question comes, where can we use a capacitor in a practical circuit? Can you suggest some devices in your home which uses capacitor? Now it is in your room. Nowadays we cannot live without that. An example is our electric fan. At the top of the disc of the electric fan, you will find a capacitor. One in the shape of a cylinder. What is the use of it? Because as we know, when you switch on the fan, it won't attain that speed very quickly. Then it has got a start, in simple words I say, it has got a starting trouble. Or electric motor of another device where capacitor finds application is electric motor. Now when we say, okay fine, when a fan is not having enough speed, we will change only its capacitor. So capacitor is a cause why fan is running slow or rotating slow. It's because of its capacitor. Now what does the capacitor do there? When you put on the fan, capacitor will charge quickly. So initiating the rotation, it requires a large amount of current. Our AC supply provides a low current, say something of the order of 5 ampere or 10 ampere. Our DB devices will be capable up to say some 20 amperes only. And for initiating the rotation, one of the reasons we say inertia. It may be a cause, I'm saying. So inertia of rest. Fan was initially at rest. Now we want to initiate motion, a greater amount, or initiate a faster rotation that requires a greater amount of current. Who can provide such a large current? Such a large current can be provided only by a capacitor, or another device is an inductor, but in this case inductor cannot work. Capacitor is one device which can provide a large amount of current. That's where capacitor finds application. So capacitor can deliver energy at once. So it has stored a large amount of energy and that is delivered in a very short time, which means the current is so large to initiate that motion. Current is so large to initiate that motion. That is where capacitor finds application. So it is capable of delivering a large amount of current in a very short time. And the discharge will go over in very short time as well. Now to demonstrate that idea, let me consider a simple circuit. Okay, this is a bulb. This is connected to an AC circuit by means of a switch. Okay, initially the switch is pressed. What will happen? This bulb will glow, right? Light will come out of the bulb. What happens if the switch is removed? When you remove the switch, what will happen? When the switch is open, what will happen? Instantly the glow or bulb goes out, right? The bulb goes out at the same instant itself. Right now, bulb will go out at the same instant itself. Now think, the same circuit, I have connected a capacitor also in parallel to the bulb. Now the switch is on. What will happen? The bulb glows, right? No doubt at all. Bulb glows the switch as the switch is open. At the same time, the capacitor also will get charged. Now the question that is most relevant here is, now I put off the switch. What will happen? Will the bulb goes out instantaneously, or will it take some time? Some time means a negligibly small time. What is your answer? I think it will take some time. Can you guess why? Because so when the switch is on, the bulb was glowing at the same time. The bulb and the capacitor are connected in parallel. The capacitor also will get charged along with the bulb. The capacitor will get charged along with the bulb. The capacitor is getting charged. Now when the switch is off, now the connection of the bulb with the cell is gone. But there is some energy associated with the capacitor. Now who will provide energy to the bulb? The energy to the bulb when the switch is open is provided by the capacitor. Now I told you the bulb will have a momentary glow. What is the reason? Because this capacitor will deliver energy to the bulb only for a short period of time. Because once the energy of the capacitor drains out, the bulb cannot glow any further. Bulb cannot glow any further once the energy of the capacitor drains out. That's the reason. Ready? So that is how I can explain the working of a capacitor. Okay. Now what is a capacitor? I hope it is clear to you. A capacitor is a device that stores electrical energy and delivers at once. Another question, what is the configuration of a capacitor? A capacitor generally consists of two conducting plates or sheets separated by a dielectric. These two conducting sheets will be oppositely charged as well. So a capacitor consists of two conducting plates separated by a dielectric. What can be the conducting plates? It can be metal conductors or it can be an electrolyte. It can be metal conductors as well as an electrolyte. It can be metal conductors as well as an electrolyte. That is a configuration of a capacitor. Then what about the next one? That is a dielectric. Already we have learned about dielectric in the previous video or previous class. This dielectric involves, say, vacuum or paper or mica or ceramic. Any dielectric I am saying. So another point you have to understand is that the plates will be oppositely charged. The plates will be oppositely charged. The plates of a capacitor will be oppositely charged. Now, the important word you have to learn regarding this is charge on the capacitor. Charge on the capacitor. What do you mean by charge on the capacitor? It is a charge present on one of the plates of the capacitor. It is a charge present on one of the plates of the capacitor. That is what is called as charge on the capacitor. Then the next question I am asking is, what is the potential of the capacitor? Potential. Potential of the capacitor is defined as the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor. Potential difference. What is the cause of potential difference? As I told you, one of the plate is positively charged, the other plate is negatively charged, and there exists a potential difference between the plates of the capacitor, and that potential difference is called potential of the capacitor. So please understand, when I use the word potential of the capacitor, it is a potential difference between the two plates of the capacitor. When I say charge on the capacitor, it is a charge present on one of the plates of the capacitor. It's a charge present on one of the plates of the capacitor is called a charge on the capacitor. And the potential of the capacitor is a potential difference between the plates of the capacitor. So this is what the basics you have to understand regarding a capacitor. Now, with your permission, let me wipe off this board and let us come to the further explanation regarding capacitor. Okay, I told you capacitor is a device that consists of two oppositely charged plates. Okay, let us say that. Okay, let me consider two parallel plates. Plates can be of any shape. If the two rectangular plates or circular plates, this is what is called a parallel plate capacitor. Then another type of capacitor we say is spherical capacitor. This is sphere 1, this is sphere 2. One of the sphere is charged positively, another is charged negatively. This is called a spherical capacitor. Then another type of capacitor that we encounter is called a cylindrical capacitor. So cylindrical capacitor consists of two coaxial cylinders. One of them will be charged positive, say plus Q. The other will be charged minus Q, and these different types of capacitors are here, but our concentration is primarily on parallel plate capacitor. That is there for the syllabus. I'll be discussing this spherical capacitor and cylindrical capacitor as a part of learning, but not required for the board exam point of view. Okay. Now let me consider a parallel plate capacitor. So as I said, one of the plates will be positively charged and the other will be negatively charged, which is of same magnitude. Now see, there exists an electric field between the plates of the capacitor, right? So as there exists an electric field between the plates of the capacitor, there must be a potential difference between the two plates, because electric field exists if and only if there is a potential difference. Now the capacitance C is given as the charge Q divided by V. What is Q here stands for? It's a magnitude of the charge on any of the plates of the capacitor. What is Q? The magnitude of charge on any plate, any of the plates of the capacitor, or simply say charge on the capacitor. Q is the charge on the capacitor, or it's the magnitude of the charge on any of the plates of the capacitor. What is V? Potential of the capacitor. In other words, it is a potential difference between the terminals of the capacitor. The capacitance C is equal to Q divided by V. Obviously, you tend to say C is directly proportional to Q, C is inversely proportional to V. Let me tell you, this is an absolute blunder, or it's absolutely wrong. How? I will explain later. It's an absolute blunder, and don't study this. This is absolute blunder. Absolute blunder. C is independent of, what I say finally will be, C is independent of okay, I will explain about it later. But understand that capacitor is a storage device. Capacitor is a storage device. Okay, capacitor is a storage device. Now the next question we need to answer is, what do you mean by capacitance? Capacitance. Capacitance. What do you mean by capacitor? A resistor is a device. What is resistance? It's a property of the resistor. Property to oppose is called a resistance. Capacitor is a device. What is capacitor doing? Capacitor is storing electric charge. Sorry, electrical energy. It's wrong to say capacitor store electric charge. It's a device that store electrical energy. The net charge on the capacitor before and after will be constant only. It's wrong to say, use the word exactly in the sense. Capacitor is not used to store charge. It's a device used to store electrical energy. Capacitor is a device used to store electrical energy. It's not a device used to store electric charge. Okay. So what is capacitance? It's a property of a capacitor to store electrical energy. It is the property of a capacitor to store electrical energy is called capacitance. Property of a capacitor to store electrical energy is called capacitance. Okay. The SI unit of capacitance is farad, abbreviated as capital F. Generally, the order of capacitance that we take is microfarad, nanofarad, picofarad, etc. That is the order of capacitance that is required for practical purposes. 1 farad is too large a capacitance. Picofarad, nanofarad, microfarad, these are the range of capacitance that we require in practice. Okay. Now, as I said a little before, capacitance is independent of Q and V. Let us understand that by studying the parallel plate capacitor. What do you mean by a parallel plate capacitor? Let me tell you, a parallel plate capacitor consists of two large plates separated by a small distance. Two large plates separated by a very small distance constitute what is called a parallel plate capacitor. Now you may be asking me a question, sir, how can large plate? Generally the size of the capacitor is something of this order. And you are saying this capacitor consists of, this is a large capacitor I have to say, and you are saying two large plates kept parallel to each other and separated by distance. What is the context of it? What is the meaning of it? What is the relevance of it? So large and small is determined by the relative size. When Gulliver went to Lilliput, he was of monster size because the people there were small in size. Right? Just like the way I can say, the plates are of large dimensions compared to the distance of separation. We are taking two finite sized plates, but the separation between the plates is negligibly small that the plates appear large in size. The separation between the plates are negligibly small that the plates appear large in size. So that's what we are saying. This is one plate, say charged plus Q. This is another plate charged minus Q. Now let D be the separation between the plates. D is the separation between the two plates. Let small a be the area of the plates. Now, what is the electric field in this region? It will be zero because one of the plates is positively charged and the other one is negatively charged. Or otherwise I can show it easily. Okay. If you construct a Gaussian surface here, net charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface is 0. That means electric field here is equal to 0. If you look at this region, the net charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface, this is plus Q, this is minus Q. Net charge is 0, which means electric field is 0 here. Electric flux is 0, that will say electric field is also 0. In other words, also you have studied in the class, this region the electric field is equal to 0. And what is the electric field in this region also? 0. Then what is the electric field in this region? Electric field between the plates, the two long plates is sigma divided by epsilon 0. What is sigma stands for? Sigma stands for surface charge density. That is what I can say the electric field is equal to sigma by epsilon 0, or otherwise it is Q divided by A epsilon 0. Q by A. What is Q? Charge on the capacitor. What is A? Area of the plates of the capacitor. Now let V be the potential difference between the plates. Now the magnitude of electric field is given by, we have learned magnitude of electric field. It's a positive quantity, so I would say it is dV by dr. dV is the potential difference divided by separation, right? So what is the potential, what is in place of dV in our problem? What is in place of dV in our problem? dV means potential difference between the 2 points. So which is taken as V. V divided by, V is the potential difference between the plates, divided by what? Divided by V is the potential difference between these 2 points. dV സ്ഥാനത്ത്, in place of dV I put V, and in place of dr what should I substitute? dr is the separation between the 2 points, that is D. Or, okay, this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. Both signifies the magnitude of the electric field. So E is equal to dV by dr, that is equal to V by D. Ready? Now what is the relation between equations 1 and 2? Let me wipe it off. A relation between equations 1 and 2. I think both are the same left hand side, which means I can say Q divided by A epsilon 0 is equal to V by D. or this will give you Q by V is equal to epsilon 0 A divided by D. This has gone to that side, V has come to this side. So Q by V is equal to epsilon 0 A by D. What is our definition of capacitance? C is equal to Q by V. That is equal to epsilon 0 A divided by D. Look at this expression now. Q by V is equal to epsilon 0. What is epsilon 0? It is the permittivity of free space. Now I consider parallel plate capacitors with air vacuum as the medium between the plates. Epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space. What is A? A is the area of the plates. And what is D? Separation between the plates. A is the area of the plates and D is the separation between the plates. Epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space. Is that a constant? Is that a constant for a given orientation of the plates? I would say that's a constant, right? It's a constant. Epsilon 0 is a constant. Area of the plates is a constant. Separation between the plates is a constant. That means epsilon 0 A divided by D is a constant. So I said a little before that the capacitance of a capacitor is independent of Q and V. It's independent of Q and V. It is independent of Q and V. And I prove it here that the capacitance of a capacitor is independent of Q and V. It's independent of Q and V. It depends on okay. Now you can see capacitance. This is the expression for the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. On what factors the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor depends? On what factors? Epsilon 0. It is the permittivity of the medium. That means capacitance depends on. Capacitance depends on. One. Medium, right? Epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space, so capacitance of a capacitor surely depends on the medium. Then what? It depends on area of the plates. It depends on the separation between plates. Altogether I say it depends on the geometry of the capacitor. So on two factors the capacitance of a capacitor depends on. One is the medium between the plates of the capacitor. Second one is the geometry of the capacitor. Now I will tell you to think a capacitor like a tank, because a tank stores something, capacitor store energy. Both are storage devices. The storage capacity, okay, look at the situation. I want to store, okay, I want to construct a tank. I want to construct a tank, or I want to buy a tank, whatever it be the situation. Do I look at what I am going to fill in the tank? Do I look at what I am going to fill in the tank? No. I can use it for storing water. So 1000 liter capacity. When you go to a shop, we won't say, okay, I want a tank to store water. Simply we say, I want a tank. I'm not going to say where I'm going to place it. I will not say where I'm going to place the tank, or I won't say what I'm going to fill in the tank. I won't say where I am going to take it to. I will just go to a shop and will say, I want a tank of so and so capacity. That means the storage capacity generally depends on the dimensions. The same thing is what we are proving here also. The capacitor is a storage device, and the storage capacitor depends on the geometry. That is a very important thing. It depends on the geometry. It is independent. So please understand that capacitance is, again I am writing here, capacitance is independent of, first one, charge on the capacitor. Second one, potential difference. So this is very important point you have to keep in mind. The capacitance of a capacitor is independent of charge on the capacitor and the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor. This is the discussion regarding a parallel plate capacitor with the air as the medium between the plates. Now the next part we can say is a parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric. This is very simple. With a dielectric. The parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric. It's very simple. I will take only a less time to prove it. Now when you place a dielectric medium between the plates of a capacitor, dielectric medium between the plates of a capacitor, say I got a dielectric of constant K, I can simply prove it in no time. The electric field between the plates is equal to sigma divided by K epsilon 0. K, what is K? Dielectric constant, right? That is equal to Q divided by K A epsilon 0, that is equal to V by D. Right? V, what is V? Potential difference between the plates, and D is the separation between the plates. From here what I am getting as Q by V is equal to capacitance is equal to Q by V. Q by V, capacitance is equal to Q by V, which is equal to K epsilon 0 A divided by D. This is the capacitance when the dielectric completely occupies the space between the plates. When dielectric completely occupies the space between the plates, this is the expression for the capacitance of the capacitor. That means the capacitance with a dielectric medium is K times capacitance with the air as the dielectric, or vacuum as the dielectric medium between the plates. The capacitance becomes K times when a dielectric completely occupying the space between the plates is inserted. The capacitance of a capacitor becomes K times when a dielectric of constant K occupying complete space between the plates is inserted. Hope my discussion is clear to you. Looking forward to the remaining topics that will be discussed in the next session. Thank you and have a nice time.